Hi, it's Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and in this video I'll be looking at a updated CarLinkit TBox Mini Android 11 AI box for factory and aftermarket CarPlay systems. We've seen two generations of this CarLinkit TBox on this channel, and this is their upgraded version of the Mini, or they also like to call it V3, which brings a different 4-core Qualcomm chipset with a different GPU inside it, and it now runs Android 11 instead of Android 10 on the earlier TBox Mini. In the box you get a paper instruction manual, there is the AI box itself, and there are two USB cables, one USB A to C and the other is USB C to C for more modern CarPlay systems. Looking at the dongle casing, nothing has really changed since their last TBox Mini. It's exactly the same slimmer case shell with the usual USB-C charging port in the middle, and there's a SIM card slot and TF card slots on either side. There are also the same two LED status lights at the top of the casing. Booting up this dongle took 40 seconds to get into its main menu interface from connecting its USB power cable. So add your own system time on top of this for a total boot time from your car's own ignition. Sadly, they didn't use this update as a means to improve its main menu. Features the same floating home button, which you can now turn it off in the settings menu. And there's also a cursor control method option for cars without touchscreen input. But overall, I didn't find this UI as clean as some others, and it's beginning to look a little bit dated in its design. All the usual pre-installed apps are there ready to launch, but like all AI boxes, you'll have to give it an internet connection first. You can choose either to use a personal hotspot or local Wi-Fi, or you can use its SIM card slot for local mobile data. The latter is required if you want to use both wireless CarPlay or Android Auto alongside the Android OS apps on the dongle. Otherwise, you'll find that both will be fighting for the dongle's Wi-Fi connection. This update now runs under the Android 11 operating system, which is an upgrade from Android 10. So any apps limited to Android 11 will now run on this particular dongle. Looking at the CPU and GPU tabs on the device info app, the original 8-core Qualcomm 450 has been neutered to a much slower 4-core A53 Qualcomm 2290 CPU, running at a slightly higher clock rate of 2 GHz. With this CPU change, there's also an upgrade to the GPU with an Adreno 702 GPU. The RAM and storage have also been cut to 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage from 4 GB and 64 GB on the earlier model. I ran a Geekbench 5 test to get some comparison benchmark values against the previous version and its competition, and I noticed that the change in the chipset really didn't bring it that much of a boost over its earlier version. However, this upgrade might offer a cooler and more efficient chipset over the more commonly used Qualcomm 450. So if you want the fastest AI box, I think you'll have to look elsewhere. Firing up apps like YouTube and Netflix, the dongle seemed to operate just fine with its audio in sync with the video stream. And that's mainly because streaming video isn't really that taxing on the CPU. So it does the job in this regard. However, with 3 GB of RAM, this dongle will not multitask between many running apps as well as dongles with more RAM. Whilst its reduced 32 GB of storage is really around about 15 GB after the installed Android 11 operating system and its pre-installed apps, which leaves you much less space for added additional apps and media downloads. Wireless CarPlay and Android Auto use the pre-installed AutoKit Android app, and its config menu consists of a handful of lightweight options. Boot up into wireless Apple CarPlay from Bluetooth pairing took around 12 seconds, whilst on Android it was a little bit faster at 11 seconds. Once on either platform, they each behaved okay and were fairly responsive considering the specs were lower than the older TBox Mini, with a drop in max channel width, Wi-Fi band and data rate. So performance might take a hit here, yet the dongle might run cooler with these less demanding specs. This dongle has a dual Bluetooth, so I was able to pair up my Xbox controller with the dongle and try out a couple of games. You can control the menu this way too, and in games that support a controller input. My controller paired fine with the TBox Mini, and it handled it well. However, the performance of games with this chipset is going to suffer, as you can see with this Android version of Sonic 2, which is running pretty slowly. This upgraded CarLinkit TBox Mini currently retails for $140 from Amazon US, £160 from Amazon UK, and €170 on Amazon DE. And if you're after this particular model, you can have a look for the mention of it using Android 11. 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage, and the status LED light is white instead of green on the previous model. Personally, I find this AI box to be another new entry-level AI box that we might see more of from other brands, so we have to be careful when it comes to choosing the right one. There's definitely be some cost saving for this entry-level model, which might be to help upsell buyers to their new and much faster Qualcomm 665 chipset plus version of the TBox, which I've yet to test myself on this channel. Compared to the earlier Mini model, you get less RAM and storage and poorer overall performance, yet this dongle does seem to run less hot, so it is likely more efficient with the newer chipset. But with less RAM and a lackluster GPU, you can't really run as high intensive apps as comfortably as some other dongles will do. At its price, I think you can do much better by either investing a little more and upgrading to a new Plus version, or a similar model with the same Qualcomm 665 chipset, or sticking with the older model with more RAM and more storage if video streaming is all that you're looking to do on it. If you'd like to watch another recommended Android AI box dongle review of mine, you can check out this video here, and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching though to the end of this video. If you have, please leave me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this upgraded TBox Mini, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers, bye.